Good afternoon and welcome to one more webinar from Telerik India. So there's a slight change in the timelines. If you have been a regular to our webinars, we used to do it at 3 p.m. India Standard Time every Thursday, but we have moved up the time a little bit to kind of make sure that we get our friends from Southeast Asia, that's Malaysia, Singapore, all those regions. So it's 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. India Standard Time Thursdays. So today we're going to be looking at a very specific product from Telerik. We have named the webinar as Build and Deliver Reports from Web and Mobile Apps. So we're going to be taking a look at our Telerik Reporting product, which will help you to deliver reports from your web, or we'll see how it can help you in the mobile apps. So that's me, who's behind the mic. My name is Lohit Jian. I'm a technical evangelist with Telerik in India. I'm also Microsoft MVP in the area of ASP.NET and IAS. That's my official email ID, lohit.nagaraj@telerik.com if you want to reach me. And I'm also available on Twitter with the handle that's put up there. And those are some of the blog sites that you may want to bookmark. Kashypas.com is my personal site where I keep writing mostly on ASP.NET. TelerikHelper.net is a website where myself and my colleague, we keep writing on Telerik things. Telerik.com is our global website where you can get more about Telerik and the products that we have under our portfolio. So I had a fairly simple agenda for this webinar. If you see here, it's just a 4 bullet points here. So we'll kind of spend a little bit of time on looking at what is reporting. Then I'm going to introduce you to Telerik Reporting. If you know Telerik Reporting well, it's better and good. If not, I'm just going to quickly spin up, a little intro about Telerik Reporting, and then we'll get into how do you kind of use the reports in a web app. Or basically we are looking at three major areas, which is ASP.NET Web Forms, ASP.NET MVC, and HTML5 based apps. And then of course we'll end the webinar with an introduction to Report Server, and if time permits, I'm going to go over how you can make the reports inside, or deliver the reports inside your mobile applications. So let's spend a little bit of time understanding what is reporting, right? Typically every application would require some sort of reports or some sort of reporting, right? So it's a very vague term that everybody uses, saying like, oh, we need a reporting module, right? So I looked up Wikipedia and then I wanted to understand what exactly does reporting mean. So the question is, what is reporting, right? So Wikipedia says reporting is the process of collecting and submitting data for statistics compilation, right? So there are a couple of things happening here. So it's about collecting and submitting data for statistics compilation. So statistics can be like an average of all the sales, or a sum of all the sales per region or per sale. So whatever, it's a statistics. So why do you need reporting? Accurate reporting gives accurate analysis. Typically today, most of the web applications, I'm not talking about just a web application, but I'm talking about most of the businesses or most of the solutions or most of the projects that you may be working on, they generate a huge amount of data. We are in the IoT scenario now. So IoT also, like the Internet of Things, it's nothing but a device or a gadget sending, generating data. And these small gadgets, they generate huge amount of data. How do you make sense of that? So that sense is made using the compilation of the data to a statistical things like maybe a sum, average, and you plot them maybe into a tabular format or into a graphs or whatever it is. So that's why reporting is the process of collecting and submitting data for statistic compilation. Accurate reporting gives you accurate analysis. Inaccurate reporting leads to uninformed decisions. I have the data, but if I don't see the data, or if I don't get that data in a format that I can understand, I'm never going to use that data, and then that's why the inaccurate reporting will lead to uninformed decisions. If I can get my past data in a graph manner, I know, like, I've been going up or I've been going down, and then based on that, I will be able to take a decision. So Wikipedia puts it right. Reporting is the process of collecting and submitting data for statistics compilation. Accurate reporting gives you accurate analysis. Inaccurate reporting leads to uninformed decisions. So that's pretty much what reporting is all about. Take a data, munch it or crunch it or whatever they call it and make sense out of the data. So what do you need? You need somebody to actually do that. You can collect data maybe in a table, but you need some engine to do that, huge data compilation, all those things. So that's where reporting solution comes into picture. And let me introduce you to what we call as Telerik Reporting. So Telerik Reporting is a product that we sell in Telerik. And as you can see here, using Telerik Reporting, you can actually view the report either in a desktop browser or in a tablet browser or in a phone browser. That's because we have what we call as viewers or report viewers. And these report viewers, we have report viewers for different technologies. So I'm going to go through the next slides and then you'll see that. So what is Telerik Reporting? Well, as I said, it's a reporting solution. It's mainly catered for .NET technology or the .NET stack. I say cloud, web, desktop, and HTML5. That's because if you embed Telerik Reporting or Telerik Reporting solution into your own projects or into your own solution, we are cloud ready, meaning you can take your application and then host it on a cloud, and like for example, Microsoft Azure, and we work very well because our reporting solution is completely different when compared to any other reporting solutions like SQL Server reporting services, right? SSRS is a full-fledged server, whereas our reporting solution is an embed into your project, meaning you need just two DLLs, Telerik Reporting.dll, Telerik.reporting.dll, and we also have specific viewers. So if you are in web forms, you need one more DLL, which is telerik.reportingviewer.webforms.dll. That's it. Just put these two into your project. It's a bin deployable. Deploy it onto your servers, and then you have a reporting solution right inside your project or right inside your solution. So it has ready to use tools and services. So we give you what we call as designers. So we have, yes, Windows application, yes. When I say they're .NET Cloud, Web, Desktop, and HTML5, it's basically .NET Cloud, .NET Web, .NET Desktop, .NET HTML5. Right? Basically when we say HTML5, the front end is completely HTML. There's no ASP.NET Web Forms or there's no ASP.NET MVC. Rather, it's a plain HTML. But the back end is supported by the ASP.NET pipeline or the ASP.NET stack. So those scenarios is where you can use .NET. Our .NET report, the reporting engine that is there in the Telerik reporting is basically based on .NET. So you need to be on .NET for the server side so that your report can run. But for the viewing part, it's up to you. You want to view it in a ASP.NET Web Forms, we will give you a report viewer for Web Forms. You want to view the report in ASP.NET MVC, we will give you a ASP.NET MVC report viewer. You want to view the same report in Silverlight, we'll give you a Silverlight viewer. If you want to view that in a Windows Forms, we will give you a Windows Forms viewer. So that's why I said Telerik reporting is like embed into your particular solution. You can generate the report or design the report once and use it across .NET technologies. That's what, but today we're going to be focusing on web. So I will be showing that I'll generate a report once and then we'll use it in web forms and we'll use it in MVC. So that's the goal for today's webinar. When I say ready to use tools and services, is basically we give you designers right inside Visual Studio, right? You can pretty much be inside Visual Studio, then design the report. That's it. You don't have to ever get out of Visual Studio. That's the benefit for the developers. I never have to get out of my Visual Studio because Visual Studio is my home. Daily, every day, I keep working things within Visual Studio. So just because I need to design a report, I shouldn't go out of Visual Studio. I should be there within Visual Studio. That's what we mean by, we give you tools and services. So when I say services, when it comes to ASP.NET MVC, as you all know, MVC is completely HTML or the client side. There is no concept of server side controls or anything in MVC. So in order to make sure the generated report is sent to the client, we need something known as REST APIs, and then we give you that service pre-built. You just have to create an API controller inherited from our controller, and then you're up and go. So when we go to the MVC, we'll see that. And you can always create, deploy, and use reports quickly. So that's because you're always in the Visual Studio. You can design it, and then we give you a preview tab. That's another benefit that we give you. You do not have to wait to look at how the report is coming up till your project is done or till your page is done. No, when you're designing, our designer has three things. One is a design surface, and then preview surface, wherein it will run your report and then show you the output then and there only. And another interesting fact that we have in Telerik reporting is the data source support. We support relational, multi-dimensional ORMs and then custom data layer. You, whatever be your data source, we're going to connect to that and then help you build your reports. When I say relational, it's SQL Server, Oracle, all those things. When I say multi-dimensional, I'm talking about OLAP cubes. When I say ORM, I'm talking about entity framework. I'm talking about our own ORM, which is Telerik Data Access. Custom data layer, it's like, I have some object, maybe person controller, and then person controller has dot get person, so whatever it is. So we will be able to do that also. And this is what I was talking about. We have dedicated viewers for .NET Web, Desktop, and HTML5. When I say .NET Web, it is .NET, ASP.NET Web Forms, ASP.NET MVC. When I say Desktop, it's in the web, we have Silverlight also. When I say Desktop, we have ASP, the WPF, and we have WinForms. And then when I say HTML5, it's a plain HTML, so we have viewers for that also. So that's a kind of a pretty what do you call whirlwind tour of what is Telerik reporting all about, right? So this is something that our website has, and I kind of like this, how our designers or how our product managers have put up. In one shot, it tells you what you get when you download Telerik reporting. What is included? We give you Visual Studio Designer. We also have standalone report designer, wherein, let's say you are a manager, you don't want to get into Visual Studio, but you know how to work with things like data source. You understand what is binding, all those things. So you can fire up our standalone report designer, design a report, connect to your local data source, and say, hey, this is how I want the report to be. You can pretty much give that file that's designed to your developers. They can readily embed into your solution. So that's as easy as it can get. And then, of course, API for creating and rendering reports. Another interesting fact about our Telerik reporting is, under the hood, Telerik reporting is a POCO, plain old CLR object. It's a class file. We give you a design surface, but under the hood, what we are doing is we are translating your design movements into C# code, right? So at runtime, you can do report is equal to new report, and then whatever you want to do, because it's a class. So that's what we mean by API for creating and rendering reports. You can take control of what you want to do at runtime. We also give you OLAP reporting engine with Excel-like expression. So that's embed, or that's built in with Telerik reporting engine. And of course, all the interactivity that you need in your reports, like drill down, drill through, sorting, document. We also give you map. Basically you can pretty much go and then say like, hey, I want to draw a map, and then when I put the data, if there is a geo data there, it will automatically color code in all those things. And then we also allow you to mail merge. And also the report viewers that I was talking about, we have HTML5 report viewers for HTML5 mobile, and our HTML5 report viewer is mobile and touch ready, and ASP.NET, Ajax, MVC, Silverlight, Windows Presentation, Foundation, Forms, and then Azure Cloud. So when I say Azure Cloud, it's nothing but you build your application locally using Telerik reporting. You can pretty much upload it to the cloud, and then it's going to start working, because we are been deployable, and then we don't have any other dependency. And exporting capabilities, you can take a look at the capabilities that we have. This is out of the box. You do not write anything. You just design your report, and then let us do all the other thing. Excel, Word, PowerPoint, PDF, CSV, XPS, MS-HTML, rich text formats, images, you name it. And data support, as I said. And reporting services, we give you the REST service, which is nothing but based on a web API. And we also have a WCF service that you can pretty much set it up. So let's put our attention now to ASP.NET Web Forms. How do you deliver reports from Web Forms? Basically, we give you Web Form report viewer, and it's a server-side control, and reports are processed and rendered on the server, but the report content is delivered through an handler that we put up or we give the handler that we give you when you create a particular project. So now let's start looking at how to create a what do you call report, and then how do we use it. So okay, so let me bring up my Visual Studio 2013. So I'm using Visual Studio 2013. What I'm done is already I've gone ahead and then okay, let me just okay, I've already gone ahead and installed Telerik Reporting. So if you see here in my Visual Studio menu items, I see that there's a little bit of lag, so I'm just looking at if you're getting my screen or not. So this is Telerik menu item that we have, and of course I have all the our things. So reporting is another thing that is there, so it shows you here, it says reporting. So we do not have any project type per se for reportings, but rather report is a item template. So what you need to do is, I'm going to go ahead now and then say, like, new project. By the way, if you want to go download, we have a 30-day, let me bring it up and then show it to you. So if you go to telerik.com/reporting, this is the product overview page. Let me close this. Come on, close. Okay, so this is the reporting product overview page, and then you can actually download the try now. I mean, if you want to download and do a trial, you can just click on try now and then you'll get a 30-day trial. What I have done is I already have a reporting product license with me, so I've already gone ahead, installed it. Once you install it, you will see it coming up in the Telerik menu item there. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, in order to use, we'll first create an empty blank solution. So what I'm going to do is select other Visual Studio solution, blank solution, and let me quickly change. Okay, and then I'm going to say this is reporting demo. So this is just, I'm just creating a blank solution. There's a reason for that. I didn't want to get started with a ASP.NET Web Forms application because I want to first create the report. So what I have done is, this is a best practice that we tell to our customers also. Always create Telerik reports in a class library. Do not create it in your, I mean, if you just have maybe a web forms application, or if you just have an MVC application, it is fine to keep the report template within the single project. But if you have a scenario wherein there is a public facing site and there is an internal application, and then both of them needs to see the same report, then you should always create the report in a class library, because the same report can be used in the public facing web application, and the same report can be used in your I can use it in the Windows or WPF or a WinForms or whatever, internal or whatever it is. So that's why. So I've created a solution. There's a question: how do I get unlimited license for Telerik reporting tools? Well, Telerik reporting is a enterprise product, or it's a licensed product, so you would have to buy the license, and the pricing option is available on the website or the product page that I told you. So you just go ahead, buy the license, and then it's up to you. It's for your life. We don't charge you for your deployments, rather we charge you for your development time. So as you can see here, I just have a blank solution. It says solution and then so and so name. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and then say right click, add new project, and I'm going to select Visual C# and class library. Okay, and then for this class library, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say report demo dot library, just a name. It can be anything. I mean, it's usually good to give it a meaningful name. In my case, I'm saying, like, this is the report library. So we get a blank class, so let's remove that. We don't need that. Why? Because I'm going to be going and then creating my own report. So let me show you how easy it is to create a report now. On the class library, I'm going to go ahead, right click, say add new item. And in the new item, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Telerik. So this is the thing, when you go and then download and install Telerik, you will start seeing templates like this coming up in your file new project dialog or add new item dialogs. So currently what has happened is, since I know I have installed reporting, it shows all the reporting what do you call templates, item templates. So this is a HTML5 report viewer. This is the blank report. This is the import wizard, meaning if you already have a crystal reports or extra reports or active reports, you can actually import that or convert them into Telerik reporting using this wizard. What I'm going to do is, in the interest of the time, I don't want to hard code or start typing or start coding everything. So I'm going to make use of our reporting wizard. So what this wizard does is it gives me a bunch of dialogues, and based on that we can go ahead and create a report. So what I'm going to do is I'll be using AdventureWorks database. AdventureWorks database has a product table, and the product has a subcategory and then a category. So it's like under a category called components, I will have frames, and then under the frames I will have different frames. Under the category called components, I will have the handles, and then there will be different type of handles in a subcategory like that. So we're going to just make that particular report now. Of course, I'm just creating a very simple one in the interest of the time, but you can do a lot, many things here. So as you can see here, we're going to ask you, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to do a band report or a label report or invoice report, blank report, cross tab table, you name it, we're going to give you that wizard. So for now, I'm going to select band report, and I say okay. And what you're seeing in the background is actually the design surface. So the design surface is the back. Okay, I think it's not loaded for you guys, so let me wait for a moment. There you go. So in the background, what you're seeing is actually the design surface, but in the foreground is the wizard. And it is saying, hey, I want you to choose a data source. It would have figured out if I already had a data source, it would have figured out. But since I do not have a data source, I'm going to go and then say add a new data source. And this is what the data source support that I was talking about during my slides. We have CSV data source support, we have cube data source support, we have entity data source, object data source. Open access is our own ORM, which is free, and it does a lot of things. And we have a SQL data source. Today I'm going to pick up SQL data source, and in the name I'm going to give AdventureWorks, or I'm going to say product catalog data source, and say okay. So we will have to create the, I'm going to create a new data source, and then I'm going to say SQL client data provider. I will build the, so I have my SQL Express set up at so and so server name, and now we should be able to get the, so here's, I'm connecting to AdventureWorks 2012, and I'm going to say test connection, and the test connection has passed. So I picked the database, and I'm going to say test connection, and then I would see a, there you go, the confirmation comes up, and I'm going to say okay. So it is asking me, it is telling me that, hey, this is the data source connection string now, is it okay? So I'll say yes. I'll say next, and it will say what is the name of the connection string that you want to use. So I will say, yeah, well, use it as AdventureWorks 2012, and I'm going to say next. So here is where now in the next dialog, what happens is it is asking me, hey, what is the select statement, or what is the query for this particular report, right? A report is nothing but you would execute a query, get a, a data in tabular format, and then display that. So that's all it is. So it is asking me, hey, what is the query that you want to use? So notice that this is a text box, or there is a button called as query builder. I can click on query builder if I don't want to write the query myself. So let's wait for this query builder to come up. And in the query builder, what happens is I get a dialog which says which table do you want to add. So this is very similar to if you have done in the SQL Server Management Studio. I'm going to select product, product category, and product subcategory, and then say add. Let me close this window and notice that it's able to give me the relationship also. So what I want is I want to select the product category name, and I want to select the product subcategory name, and I want to select the product name, product number, then color, standard cost, list price, and then the size. Okay, so let me rename them as category, and this is subcategory, and this will be product name, or I'll just say product. And we have the product number, color, blah blah blah. I can go ahead and execute the query, and then there you go, we have the query coming up in the bottom. Everything looks good to me. So I come back here. If you see here, this is the query we just built up. So I say, okay, you execute the query. So this is the data that's going to come up. As I said, component has road frames, and then there are different road frames under the frames. If you see a black 58, so like this. And then I'm going to say finish. So now what has happened is we have created the data source, and then we have gone ahead and then used the whatever fields that we need. So this is the data that I'm going to show on the report. So now this is where it becomes interesting. What I want is, I don't want just everything to come up. I want the data to be grouped by the category, and then within the category it should be grouped by the subcategory also. And then in the details I want to see all the things. So all you need to do is drag the category to the group field, drag the subcategory to the group field. So first it is going to group by category, then subcategory, and then I can start getting product number. Let's move the number up and keep the product there, and color and size. So I'm just dragging and dropping, right? And then standard cost, and then the list price. That's it. So I'm done. I'm going to say next, and then it is asking me how do you want to do it. I'm going to keep it as stepped, or you can do an outline, or you can do a left align. So I'll do a left align maybe, so that it looks neat. And let me say next, and here I'm going to pick up corporate. So as you can see, we give a lot of themes: normal, apex, aspect, civic, corporate, office, and then whatever, solstice. So I'm going to click the corporate and then say finish. So once I say finish, notice what happened in the background. So if you see here, now the wizard has actually gone ahead and then created the report for me. So now how do I know if it is working right or not? So on the top here in the page, if you see, there is a designer preview and then HTML preview. So just click on the preview. The project gets built now. Okay, it is built. So there you go. We are now looking at the report without even leaving our Visual Studio, without even embedding this report inside some application. So this is actually going ahead and then executing against the data connection string, whatever we have set up. And you can see here, so I'm getting this. I can actually go to the next screen, and you can see here. So one thing we notice is, this category is not repeating everywhere, right? So I can go back to the designer, and I can click on this and say properties, and here if you see here, behavior print on every page is set to false. I can say no, I want to see the category in all the pages. Similarly for subcategory, I can now go ahead and then say properties and print on every page true. So let me save this, and I'll go back to the preview, and now in every page we'll start seeing components and subcategories now. There you go. As you can see here, I'm able to get the category and then subcategory in every page. So that is as simple as it can get. Now we are done with the report. Now how do I use it, right? So that's where our report viewer comes into picture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this class library as is. In the same solution, let me close the report. In the same solution, I'm going to go ahead and then say add new project. And again, I'm going to go select Telerik and web, and I'm going to pick up Telerik C# web forms application, and then here I will say report demo dot web forms, And I'm going to get a dialog here which will ask me a couple of questions as to, because it's going to set up the particular, so there you go. So we got the, so I'm going to keep it at empty. I like Metro, so I'm going to pick up Metro as the theme, and everything else is same. I'm going to say next, and I'm going to keep this as is, next. And I don't need rad spell, rad capture, everything else is the same. I'll say next, and I don't want to create Telerik data access now. I'll say finish. So now what we have done is we have just created an empty ASP.NET Ajax or ASP.NET Web Forms application. So let the project get created. As you can see, it's taking a little bit of time because my machine is overloaded now. Okay, now I've done with this. First thing that I need to do is add a reference to the report demo.library. So I'm going to go ahead and then add a reference to the class library which contains the report. So I said okay, and it's been added. Now let's open the default.aspx. And it's a typical ASP.NET web form where we have our style sheet manager, we have our scripts manager, and then Ajax manager, and then that's it. So now what I want to do is in this particular place where div is coming up, I want to go ahead and then include our, I want to include our report viewer for web forms. So in the toolbox, if you just go to the toolbox, let me get my zoom it. So once you install Telerik Report Viewer, your toolbox starts getting a lot of things. If you can see here, it says Telerik UI for ASP.NET Ajax. So I have installed that. And then if you look at here in the bottom, it says Telerik Reporting Q1 2015. And then we have Report Viewer. So this Report Viewer is the web form Report Viewer. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this or drag and drop onto my page, and then we will have our ASP.NET Web Forms Telerik Report Viewer instantiated on the screen. So I'm going to go double click on Report Viewer. So what this does is it goes ahead and then adds all the necessary DLLs that you require. Basically it requires what do you call telerik.reportviewer.webforms.dll. So that's the DLL which contains our the binary, or that's the binary which contains our viewer. If you see here, we have gone ahead and registered the assembly telerik report viewer.webforms and telerik report viewer.webforms. I think I need to do one more step, so give me a second. And let's take a look at what it has done. So it has included Telerik Report Viewer.webforms, but since my library depends on Telerik Report Viewer, Telerik Reporting.dll, I would have to add the Telerik Reporting.dll. So I just gonna go to the installation folder. It's installation folder bin, and then I'll pick up Telerik Reporting.dll. I'll say okay. And remember, we had a connection string in the class library, so we will have to pick up that particular connection string, come back to our web forms, open web forms web.config, and here we will have to put the connection strings. Right now, if you notice here, what I can do is I can go to the design surface, and if you see here in the design surface, we are able to see the report viewer. So let the screen catch up. Looks like a lot of lag. So what you are seeing there is the the design surface there. I'm going to right click on report viewer and then go to properties, and in the properties window there is this property setting called report source. Right, you need to tell the report viewer what is the source or what is the report that it has to display. Right, so what I can do is there is an ellipse here on the right hand side. Let me show that. Oh. So there's an ellipse here just in the report source thing. So just click on that and you will get a dialog box which says load a report from where. right? It will ask you like, from where do I load the report? I'm going to say, you can load it by URL or a file or an XML markup. I'm going to say, no, load it by type name, because I already have my library, class library called report_demo.library.dll. Inside that, I already have a product catalog, right? So I can say select report document, and it will go ahead, look at the all the DLL that we have are referenced, and then it will figure out, okay, who has a particular object type called Telerik Reporting, which is based on Telerik Reporting, and then it will actually show me that. So just give me a second. It's taking a little bit of time. Not sure what is happening. Okay, let's come back to this. What I will do is I'll just code it out. So if you come back to the report viewer here, I mean, if you had used that dialog, it would have written the things for you. So I can say report source. No, hang on. Just give me a second. Looks like my mouse just snapped. So let's do programmatically then. So what we will do is, you can set it up like that, or not sure what happened. I somewhere I missed something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it programmatically now. In the page load, I will say if not post back. If not is post back, I'll create a type report source. So this is the object that we have. So it's under telerik.reporting namespace. So I'm going to say is report source is equal to new report source, and report source dot type name. So you just need to give the type name. So what I will do is I already know my type. So the type is product catalog. So this is in my report library. If you see there, it says using report demo.library. So that's where it is, and assembly qualified name. So you need to give the fully qualified name, which is like namespace dot class name, comma the assembly name. So that's what it needs. And then all we need to do is this dot report viewer dot report source is equal to report source. So what this is showing you is at runtime, you can actually control what report source you want to show inside the report viewer. That's as simple as this. So now I'm going to run this. So I'm just saying debug, start a new instance. So we have already spent quite a lot of time here. So let's speed up things. So what you're going to see is a web page coming up, and then we will have the ASP.NET Web Forms report viewer being shown there. So in the interest of the time, for the MVC, what I've done is I've already coded the whole stuff. So I'm going to just open this. It's the same report I'm going to be using. Just give me a second. I think I missed one setting. And I know what setting is that. We need to add a particular handler. So if you go to web.config in the web forms and then go all the way down in the system.webserver.handlers, we need to say, So this is the handler that is responsible for, delivering the content to that particular viewer. The report is processed and then report is generated on the server, and then using this AXD or the handler, the report viewer will go and then ask the handler that, hey, give me the reporting content. So this guy knows how to send the report content, whatever is generated. So now let's go back, debug, start new instance. And we'll give it a couple of minutes. I'm not sure it's the catch up on your screens. Looks like not yet. Yeah, so now you should see on your screen, we have the report coming up, but yeah, it's come with a default height and width. So let's fix that. I'm going to go to Telerik Report Viewer. I will say width, maybe 600, and then height, maybe 600 again. I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to refresh this page, and then let's see. The width and height should have be good now. Well, we can go and then increase a little bit again. And there you go. So this is how the report looks like now. So basically the report viewer is able to show all the pages. If you see there, it is going and then getting data from the server. I can go back to the first page again, and then notice here what we have. We give you the exporting capability. So I can go here and then say, like, export this as a PDF. I'll click on export button. And notice here it has downloaded the PDF file. I'm going to open up this file. And you should see now a PDF file being opened. And there you go. So this is the PDF file of the same report. So you can see all the pages have been exported. So you can pretty much use this to give it to somebody, send it to somebody, or whatever it is. So that's easy as it can get. Now what I'm going to do is, in the interest of the time, I already have generated an ASP.NET MVC based project. So let me switch over to that. I'll show you what all things needs to be done to run this in an MVC project. So we have the same report library, and here is the product catalog.cs file. And all I have done is I've gone ahead and then created a simple MVC project, file new, empty ASP.NET MVC project. So that's what you see here. It says report demo.mvc. Okay, so this is the MVC project. The first thing that you will need to do is to reference the library, the report library that you have. So I have referenced that particular library. Next, you will need to reference couple of more binaries. So there is Telerik Reporting.dll. Then this is important, Telerik Reporting.services.web API. and then Telerik Report Viewer.mvc. These three things are required because Telerik Reporting, because we have the report which uses this Telerik Reporting DLL. Then we need reporting that services that web API, because we need to create an API which can actually serve the report. So in terms of web forms, it was our handler. But as you know, in the case of MVC, there is nothing like a server-side control or anything. So we need an API which can actually serve that particular content of the report. So that's why we already give you a baked-in service. All you need to do is subclass it, and report viewer.mvc is just our HTML wrapper or HTML helper to create a report viewer. So I'm going to just show that now. One more thing that you need to do is our ASP.NET MVC report viewer is actually based on our HTML5 report viewer. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if you download our Telerik reporting, so we ship what is known as HTML5. If you see here, we ship with this. So this is the HTML5 report viewer. So inside this, we have this one single folder called as report viewer. So this is the folder which contains the JavaScript, the style sheet, and the template in order to give you an HTML5 based report viewer. You need to copy this report viewer folder into your particular ASP.NET MVC. So I already done that. If you see here, I've already included that particular folder into my ASP.NET MVC, and I also included the report library, this one. So once we have done this, first thing that we need to do is copy the connection string, because that's what I need. So I already copied the connection string here from our library, whatever we needed. Then you need to go to app start webapi.config, and you need to invoke this particular thing, reports controller configuration dot register routes config. So this is the kind of plumbing that we do in order to make sure that our API controller works very well. So we are just getting into the the routes dictionary, and then we just gonna be sitting there with a URL pattern. Okay, so once we are done with web API config, next thing what we need to do is we need to go and then create a reports controller. So if you see here, I've already gone ahead and create report controller. All you need to do is subclass it from this particular class called reports controller base. That's all you need to do. And of course, you will need to set certain path, like if you are keeping the reports as a flat files, basically, as I said, we allow you to create reports as a standalone report using our standalone report designer. It saves the file as .trdx files, Telerik report definition files. If you want to include that into your project, you can. You don't need to do a class library if you want to go that way, but it's always suggested that you go the route of the library. So but whatever, so if you had kept a reports, you just need to tell us where to find those reports, which folder does those report reside in, right? And then we also have the fallback here which says type resolver. So if I don't find a physical file, it will fall back to finding a type in an assembly, and then it will get you that. And then of course, I'm creating a file cache, meaning it should cache, the report should be cached as a file. So I can cache it in a database also, but I've gone ahead and then said cache it as a file. So this is the second step that you need to do, that is create the reports controller. Once you are done with this, let me close all the documents. So now comes the important part, that is, let's take a look at the index.cs HTML where I'm going to be putting the report. Okay, so our report viewer for MVC is based on our Kendo UI technology. So Kendo UI is a client-side HTML5 based report viewer. So you should be able to see my screen now. I think you're seeing the right screen now. Okay, I thought it was frozen for a moment. So what I'm doing is I'm just going ahead and then getting the files for Kendo. You can download a trial version of Kendo and then make use of that. or you can actually use the CDN. So here I'm just using a CDN version of our Kendo style sheet. So I'm using a blue opal theme. We support around 7 themes for Kendo. And what I've done is I've given a style sheet for the element which is going to host our report viewer. And remember, we copied the report viewer template. So our report viewer has its own style also. So I'm just putting that style. And this is what you get. This is what we mean by HTML Telerik report helper, reporting helper, right? You can just say @html.telerik reporting.report viewer, and then notice the code that's been done here. I'm just saying the ID of this element is report viewer 1. Where can I find the service? So service is at a API/reports thing. Then content. So what is the template URL? So the template URL is here, the HTML file inside the report viewer. There's a question: should the report be designed separately for CSV or RTF? No, you just design the report, and the exporting will be taken care by by ourselves. So the Telerik reporting engine knows how to export this as a CSV. So you don't have to do specifically for CSV. So I'm going to be setting the, if you see here, type of report demo.library.product catalog, and then certain view modes like interactive or print, and then specific. So I want it to be scaled to 1, meaning don't show it as is, as 100%. And then of course we need certain JS. One is the report viewer JS, and then Kendo web.js, and then Kendo.mobile. If you want to allow touch, if you want to allow gestures on a mobile thing, you'll need to use this. And then I'm calling the deferred script. So basically it's nothing but to delay the script's output. So now let's go and then run this guy. So I'm just doing a debug start new instance. Those of you who are putting questions on the chat window, please put it on the question and answers panel so that it's easier for us to take a look at that, because chat window we normally don't look at there. Please put all your questions in the questions panel. So this is the same report what we had generated, but yes, I mean these are two different projects, but don't worry, but the report is the same. I've just styled it differently. But what I'm trying to show here is, this report is an HTML5 based report. So this is not a server side control or anything. Drill down, everything is possible. I haven't done that. In the interest of the time, I've just scratched the surface here to show that, hey, this is how you do a report. And notice what happens when I kind of resize the window. Notice the header bar here, and when I resize the window, notice what happened. So you get a nice little the hamburger menu as they call it, and you have print. I can go to print, so it will now getting a print dialog. I can go to export and then say like, hey, I want this to be exported as an Excel 97 2003 format. So let me open that up. And as you can see here, it is opening the Excel sheet now. And this is the Excel sheet. As you can see, we have got the same Excel sheet coming up with all the data that we needed. So take a look at the kind of things it can do. It is kind of kept all the grouping, everything it has kept as is. So that's what we give you. And this is HTML. This is HTML5 report viewer. So I can pretty much use the same capability and create a mobile application, or I can view this in a mobile. I can use the same thing from a mobile browser. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up what usually I use Opera simulator. So let me get the simulator, and let's open up maybe 1x. So this is the 1x. So I'm going to go grab the URL. And you get the same report also on the mobile, and then this is a touch enabled, so you can see here you can do a double click. You can if it were to be a touch, I could use my fingers to scroll up and down and all those things. So that is what we give you, using our HTML5 viewer. You can pretty much that's what we meant by delivering report to web and mobile. Basically you can use our HTML5 viewer, create it, and then almost all browsers now support HTML5. So you can make use of the HTML5 support that we have and deliver the reports to whatever format that or whatever device you want to give it to. So if I show you the view source for this, it's interesting. So all it has done is, let me show you what it has done. So basically, uh, where is, yeah. So here is a div, div ID report viewer 1. And at runtime, it has gone ahead and then created this JavaScript for you. Notice what is happening. It has just created a JavaScript. It has taken this particular element, converted that into Telerik Report Viewer. But how? It says the service URL is here. So imagine a situation wherein you want to embed a report into your mobile application. You can pretty much do the same JavaScript code inside your hybrid mobile application. All you need is you need a URL from where the reports can be served. So maybe the URL is http telerik.com/API/reports, and that's it. And the template URL, you can pretty much keep it inside your particular application, web application, and then you can give the where it can find the template, and that's it. And then the report can be rendered right inside your mobile application if you want. So that is what the HTML5 report viewer that we have is capable of. You can pretty much use it as a web application, or you can see the report on a mobile application, or embed that into a mobile app also. So that was about quick tour about, we are almost done with the time, but that was a quick tour about, MVC report viewer, all those things. The last thing that I want to cover immediately, let's spend maybe 5 more minutes, is Telerik Report Server. We recently released a CTP, or Community Technology Preview. In fact, today it is live, so you can actually go and then download this production level product called Telerik Report Server. What it does is, as you can see on the screen, you can store, you can manage, and you can view reports all from a single location. Pretty similar to reporting services that we have, but here it is completely web-based. It's a web portal. And at this moment, we just have a forms-based authentication, meaning you need somebody to sign up into your report portal, and then you will be able to control the authentication, authorization, all those things. But as of now, you can upload a report, you can set a connection string, and then you can preview the report and all those things. So a lot many things are in the pipeline, but this is just, I want to just showcase, like, this is what we have: a web portal. You can store, manage, view the reports, user management, authentication, and authorization. It is powered by Telerik Reporting. Here is another interesting thing. We provide you versioning and history on your reports. So maybe in the V1 you developed a report, in the V2 you somehow enhanced the same report. So when you come into our portal and then say, okay, now I want to upload a new version, we will be able to maintain that history. We will be able to give you that versioning. And of course, since it's using HTML5 report viewer, you can pretty much view the reports from anywhere, from any device. So let's quickly take a look at a demo of this. I had it set up here somewhere. Just get me that. Let me get you that. Yeah. So this is a web application. So when you download, we're going to give you that web app, the Telerik Report Server web application. I'm just logging out just to show you how it starts. But otherwise, this is the screen that you see for the report viewer. Sorry for going overboard. It's 5 minutes overboard, but just give me a couple of more minutes and then we'll wrap up the webinar part of the things, and then we'll get onto the Q&A. So I just want to show you this cool things that we are coming out with. So don't worry, I'm just running a CTP version because we just released the production version, so I haven't downloaded that. But a couple of things have changed from CDP to production version, but otherwise everything else is the same. So you will have to come sign up. So basically, as I said, this is currently making use of the forms auth. Our roadmap is to allow authentication with your maybe in domain, the Active Directory, and then so that your user don't have to sign up again. And I already created myself, so I'm gonna say so and so user. And this is how the report server will look like. As of now, everybody is coming up. Once we provide you this users, roles, permissions, everything, so you can control who sees what particular report in all those things. In order to upload a new report, all you need to do is you just have to say, hey, this is a product catalog, and I just have to put it in a category. So you can come and then create a category. Sales product catalog report, right? And then I can select a TRDX. So let me go to C: programs, Telerik, and we have a report server CDP1. Then I'm going to pick up product catalog.trdx and I can save it. And as you can see here, I have the product catalog loaded, and then you can see on the right hand side it shows an activity. It says last modified by LoHitGN, created by LoHitGN. I can actually come back here and then say upload revision. So let's say we will upload the same one, but we'll say it's a revision 2. So I'll pick up the same product catalog just to show you what happens. And if you see on the right hand side in the history, it says LoHitGN created the report, LoHitGN created the revision 2. So that is what we give you. And then you can roll back to any specific version. And not only that, they already uploaded a dashboard demo, and then same here. So there's another user called, so if you see here, there's another user. So he has uploaded a V1, V2. So I can preview this. Sorry, where is the preview? Here is the preview. I can click on the preview, and then you will see like the report can be seen. So in the coming roadmap for this year is using report server, you can directly embed these report server reports uploaded to report server directly into your applications. Our viewers will be able to directly work with this what do you call report viewer. So report viewer will be the central place where you store all your reports, and your web applications or your any other things can pull down reports and then load it there. And then somebody was asking for charts. There you go. So this is how colorful you can create our charts, everything. So this is pretty much completely currently we have reports wherein you can come in, create a new report, preview the report, you can upload a revision, you can edit, you can download, you can copy, you can delete, you can create categories, different categories like sales, finance, HR, you name it. And then of course we allow you to maintain connection strings also, meaning when you're designing, you will be embedding a connection string, but that's not the connection string in your production, right? The production will have a different connection string. So that's what you can do here. You can store your connection strings, and at runtime, when this particular report is being rendered, our reporting engine is smart enough to look at the connection string here in the server and then use that and generate the report and then send it to you. And as you can see, there are two grayed out here, scheduling and user. So that's coming up closely. I mean, we are working on the roadmap. So I would encourage you to go download. In fact, today, if you go and then see the report server page, we already have come out of CTP. I think our team released it right yesterday evening, our time. I didn't have time to go and then get this up, but as you can see here, it's in a production release now. And then features, as you can see, versioning, all those features are available as of now. The scheduling is coming up. As you can see here, the next goal is October 2015. Integration with standalone designer, Active Directory, and single sign-on support, report scheduling, and delivery. So these three are coming up. And in 2016, you will be able to embed reports in applications with report viewers integration, directly from report server. You pretty much get into that. And that's pretty much what I had for these webinar. So we saw the demo. Thank you very much for spending last 1 hour with us. And that's my email ID if anybody wants to get in touch with me, post this webinar. Uh, I know I've taken a little bit of time. I hope it was worth. So, now we're going to stop the recording so that we can get on to the Q&A. So thank you very much once again. And don't forget, we still have further webinars coming up. I'm doing one on July 9th, creating custom HTML helpers using, in ASP.NET MVC. If you're an MVC guy, you got to be there, understand how those different helpers are done. So now let me stop the recording.